Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayaditaratascha Artheshu Abhigyaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Nigamakalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukamukad Amrita Drava Sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. We now enter the 34th chapter of the 10th Skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have finished the famous Ras Leela, the divine dance of Krishna with all the Gopis over the last few episodes. Now, Shuka Brahmam continues and says, after some time, after all those wonderful incidents, a few months roll by, and once all the cowherds headed by Nanda, they go on a pilgrimage by bullock carts to this forest called Ambika Vana. Ambika Vana, as the name suggests, Ambika is the name of the Divine Mother, Parvati, and Shiva. So this place is very sacred for Shiva and Parvati. So they all go because a few months have rolled by since the autumn full moon when Ras Leela happened, and now it is springtime where Shivratri festival comes. So because of the auspicious Shivratri festival, when Lord Shiva is worshipped the whole night, to celebrate that festival, it is said that the cowherds, setting an example, Krishna himself, along with all the cowherds headed by Nanda the father, they all go in bullock carts to Ambika Vana, the forest for Ambika, which is on the banks of river Saraswati. So river Saraswati is flowing northwest of where they are. Vrindavan is by the banks of Yamuna, as we see, and to the northwest of Yamuna, quite a distance away, was the river Saraswati flowing, who has now gone dry. So to this Saraswati river flowing, then they all went, and there they took bath in the river Saraswati, and then they worshipped Lord Shiva and Mother Ambika. It says here, Tatra snatva Saraswatyam Devam Pashupatim Vibhum Anur Charar Hanair Bhaktya Devim Cha Nripate Ambikam. So snatva Saraswatyam, after taking bath in river Saraswati, they worship Pashupati, who is the Lord Shiva. So there is even today a very famous temple in present day Nepal called Pashupatinath, which is a very famous temple of Lord Shiva. Pashupati means one who is the Lord of all animals, and therefore he is also worshipped as the Lord of all animals, as Shiva, and his consort is Ambika, the Divine Mother. So we have seen the name Ambika. When Krishna appeared before his descent, he sent his sister, who's Yogamaya, and we may remember that she alone transferred the womb of Balaram to Rohini, and then she appeared as the daughter of Yashoda, and then Vasudeva switched Krishna with her, and then Kamsa foolishly attempted to kill the daughter, who is Yogamaya, and she revealed herself as the Divine Mother and disappeared. And when before all this happened, Krishna declared that you shall be worshipped in so many names, and he gave those names. And the name Ambika is part of that. He said Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanya, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, Ambika. These are the most auspicious names of the Divine Mother given by Krishna himself, and the last name was Ambika. So with this name, in this form, Ambika, along with Lord Shiva, is worshipped. So the cowherds, they have all the various articles of worship with which they worship, and they also honor the brahmanas, the priests, with cows and clothes and gold and so on. And then they take the blessings of the Lord, and then they observe sacred vows, and then they are also fasting that night, because Shivratri is when everybody fasts. So Nanda, along with his younger brother Sunanda and many others, they spent the night right there on the bank of Saraswati, along with all the cowherds right there. So when this was happening in the night, suddenly it is said a huge snake appeared, a python in fact, and this python comes and it suddenly starts to swallow Nanda. Nanda, the father of Krishna, is lying there, and this python starts swallowing him, and he starts crying out. He instantly calls out Krishna, because by now, as we already saw, Nanda knows who Krishna is. All the cowherds know who Krishna is, and therefore he immediately calls out, Krishna Krishna Mahanayam Sarpo Mam Grasate Tata Prapannam Parimochaya. So he says, "O Krishna, please protect me." So this is the beauty of how Nanda addresses his own son. He treats him as his son even after realizing who Krishna is, but then in moments of crisis, he instantly reverts to treating Krishna as the Lord. So he says, O Krishna, please protect me. The snake is swallowing me." Meanwhile, others all get up hearing this commotion, and they take fire brands and they strike the serpent, the huge python, but there is no effect whatsoever. They put burning wood and all that, nothing happens. Meanwhile, Krishna appears there, and he just touches the animal with his foot. It is said that Krishna just places his foot on the animal. Tam asprishat padabhyetya bhagavan satvatam patihi. The Lord, the master of all devotees, put his foot on the animal. Just the tail of the python, he put his foot on the tail. And instantly it is said that all the evil karma of this python had been wiped out, and suddenly the animal disappeared. Nanda was released, and there appeared the most splendorous looking being, who is called Vidyadhara. It says, Savai Bhagavataha Srimat Sparsha Ashubha. Ashubha means all his evil sins, all his bad karma were all removed just by the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. And he shed the body of the snake. There appeared a beautiful divine celestial being, and Nanda was freed. And Krishna smiled at him and said, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" So, in order to reveal this, Krishna asks this question, and he says very humbly, "I am a Vidyadhara, which is a class of celestial beings. I am not called as Sudarshana, and I was endowed with great splendor and beauty." He says, "Aham Vidyadharaha Kaschit Sudarshana iti Shrutaha." His name is Sudarshana, which is a very auspicious name, in fact. And he was very beautiful, very wealthy, very opulent and splendorous, but because of that he became very proud and haughty, and it is said that he made fun of some sages in the line of the sage Angira, who were not looking very nice. So some of the sages, they may have a crooked form, so that is why said not to judge a book by its cover. So Vidyadhara made the mistake of making fun of someone by their appearance, and instantly he was cast into the form of a python through that sin. And he said, "Now I realize that that is not a curse at all. In fact, it is a blessing, because it's only due to that blessing that I have been touched by your lotus feet." He says, "Shapo me anugraha aiva kritastai karunatma bihi yadaham loka guruna padas prashto hatashubha." He says, by Loka Guru, by the Guru of the whole universe, which is Krishna, Pada, by his feet I have been touched. So I only consider that to be a great blessing, Anugraha, that curse became the greatest blessing, that the most compassionate being touched me with his lotus feet. And then he says, "O Lord, now that I am completely freed of the curse, I ask leave of you. I shall go back to being a Vidyadhara, being a celestial being, now with a clear mind." And then he says, "I have approached you as my protector, as my supreme being, as my Lord. Please grant me leave now that I have got the greatest blessing." He says, "Prapannosmi Mahayogin, Mahapurusha Satpate, Anujanihi Mamdeva Sarvalokeshwareshwara." He says, "The Lord of all Lords, Sarvalokeshwareshwara, Deva, the Supreme Lord, Mahapurusha, the Supreme Being, Mahayogin, the greatest yogi, I surrender unto you. Now please give me leave, because I have been relieved of the great curse of the mistake or the sin of abusing sages. I've been relieved from that by the darshan of the Supreme Lord Achyuta Krishna. It is no wonder, because your very name alone is enough to relieve people of all their sins, but I have been in fact touched by your lotus feet. So no wonder that I am now completely liberated from that sin. He says, Brahma Dandad Vimuktoham Sadhyaste Achyuta Darshana. By the darshan of Achyuta, the Supreme Lord Krishna, Vimuktoham, I have been liberated. Yan Nama Grihna Akhilan Shrotrun Atmanevacha. So, whose name alone is enough to liberate everyone, but I have been touched by his lotus feet. And in this way, he takes leave of Krishna by going around him clockwise, bowing down to him, and he ascends to heaven. And Nanda is rescued. Krishna blesses this Vidyadhara, and all the cowherds, headed by Nanda, of course, are now in great veneration of Krishna, and they glorify this pastime, and then they all celebrate on their way home back to Vraja, celebrating about this pastime, talking about it with great reverence. Then a few days go by and there is a full moon night again in the springtime now, and this is a very special pastime of both Krishna and Balaram going to the same banks of Yamuna where Krishna did his Rasa Leela before in the autumn. Now in spring full moon, it is in fact said to be the date of Holi. Holi, the great festival of colors, comes on a full moon day always. It is also the date of Gaura Purnima, the date of the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On this date of Gaura Purnima, which is Holi Purnima, in the springtime, it is said that Krishna and Balaram, they entered the forest on the banks of Yamuna and they started singing beautifully. All the gopis were again drawn, but now both Krishna and Balaram are singing and the gopis were just simply surrounding them with great love. And Krishna and Balaram were looking so beautiful, the two brothers, the divine brothers, both looking exquisitely charming in immaculate garments and beautiful dress. Krishna dressed in yellow silk, Balaram dressed in blue silk. They both looking so graceful, and so they both sing in the presence of full moon with beautiful breeze and fragrance of flowers and black bees and lilies and the breeze and everything. And the music is so cadent and the brothers are singing so delightfully, and all the cowherd women are all in great trance. So this is a musical festival. Earlier we saw the very confidential, intimate dance which was only Krishna with the gopis. Now Krishna and Balaram are just singing for the pleasure of all the gopis who are just getting a most divine performance up close and personal. So all the gopis are surrounding Krishna and Balaram and sitting there. So it is said that Krishna exhibited mastery over all the 64 arts. So this is why Krishna is called Purna Avatar. There are 64 arts listed in the Vedas, various arts. Music is one of them, dance is another, painting, sculpture, so many are there. Krishna is supposed to be a master in all 64 arts. So here he exhibits the opulence of singing along with Balaram as well. So they both are singing so beautifully, and when this is happening, their singing is so intoxicating for the gopis. They are so melodious and so wonderfully singing at the time. It is said that a yaksha is the class of people who are attendants of Kubera. One of them called Shankachuda comes. As his name suggests, Shankachuda means one who's wearing a very expensive jewel. So he comes there, and these yakshas can be either way. Some are good and some are evil. This particular yaksha, Shankachuda, had evil propensities, so he got jealous of this beautiful pastime going on of all these gopis sitting and listening to Krishna and Balaram singing. So when Krishna and Balaram were not present momentarily, he somehow kidnapped some of the gopi women and he took them away. And instantly the women started crying. They said, "Oh Krishna, oh Balaram, please protect us." And Krishna and Balaram heard the sound, and then they assured safety, "Do not be afraid." And then instantly the two brothers, the two divine brothers, ran behind Shankachuda, this yaksha, and he perceived them. As soon as he saw them, he saw that he is instantly caught up with him. The two have caught up with him. So it said that they look like time and death itself. It says, Kala Mrityu Iva Dvijan. Krishna and Balaram look like time and death for him because he knows that he played with the wrong people, the two most divine brothers, Krishna and his expansion Balaram, and therefore they catch up with him instantly in no time. And then Balaram takes care of the women. He retrieves the women from Shankachuda and he guards them, while Krishna just takes his fist and knocks his head so hard that his head is knocked off and the jewel also falls off. So thus in this way Shankachuda is slain. So here we see, of course, every time whenever there is a demon coming and engaging in some evil act, either trying to harm the cowherd boys or in this case take away the cowherd women, Krishna inflicts swift justice. And this is another key aspect of Krishna avatar. And in during also the pastime of Ram always did not tolerate any of the demons engaging in any evil acts, and he would instantly slay them. So while Krishna and Ram are embodiments of compassion, also they displayed this beautiful rasa of instant anger that comes when the evil rises, and thereby setting an example that those who are to be not tolerated ought to be punished severely, as much as those who need to be protected ought to be protected with love and care. So in this way Krishna slays Shankachuda and retrieves the most expensive jewel. He comes back and then he, of course, gives the jewel to his elder brother Balaram. So every time Krishna is with Balaram, we will see that Krishna, in accordance with his role as the younger brother, even though he is the supreme being, he will always treat with great reverence the elder brother Balaram and give him the first respect. So here also the most expensive jewel from Shankachuda, he comes and gives it to Balaram. It says Shankachudam nihatya evam manimadaya bhaswaram agrajaya adadat pritya. He says with great love he gave it to his elder brother Agraja Balaram, and all the gopis saw this with great wonder, the great respect Krishna shows to his elder brother. And with this pastime ends, and this chapter also ends. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.